About African buffalo. The African wild ox, or Cape bison, is known by many names. It is known as Cape buffalo, or the African buffalo. It is an enormous sub-Saharan African bovine animal. Cincerus caffer, the Cape wild ox, is the commonplace subspecies, and it is the biggest one that is found in southern and East Africa. The grown-up African wild oak's horns are its trademark highlight. They have combined bases, shaping a persistent bone safeguard across the highest point of the head, alluded to as a chief. It is generally viewed as quite possibly the most hazardous creatures on the African landmass, and as per a few appraisals it guts, stomps on, and slaughters more than 200 individuals consistently. This is very disturbing when we consider the animals and the environment. In the near future, this can lead to endangering the species of African buffalo animals. In this article, we will study more about the Cape buffalo information. Cape buffalo anatomy. The African buffalo is a vigorous animal. Their shoulders are around 1.0 to 1.7 meters and their head and body length can go from 1.7 to 3.4 meters. The tail can range from 70 to 110 centimeters long. Compared with other enormous bovids, it has a long yet stocky body. The body length can surpass the wild water bison, which is heavier and taller. Savannah-type Cape buffalo weighs 500 to 1,000 kilograms, with the males typically bigger than females. The front hooves of the African buffalo animals are more extensive than the back, which is related to the need to help the heaviness of the forward portion of the body, which is heavier and more remarkable than the back. Savannah-type wild oxen have dark or dim earthy-colored coats with age. Old bulls regularly have whitish circles around their eyes and all over their body. Females have more ruddy coats. Timberland-type wild oxen are 30–40% more modest, rosy earthy-colored in shading, with considerably more hair development around the ears and with horns that bend back and up. Calves of the two sorts have red coats. A trademark highlight of the horns of grown-up African buffalo animals is that their bases come extremely near one another, and it is known as a chief. From the base, the horns wander downwards. At that point easily bend upwards and outwards and now and again inwards and additionally in reverse. In huge bulls, the distance between the closures of the horns can reach as much as 1 meter. The horn structure complete when the creature arrives at the age of 5 or 6 years of age. However, the supervisors don't turn out to be hard until it arrives at the age of 8 to 9 years of age. Ecology. The African buffalo animals are perhaps the best slow eaters in Africa. They are also known as bison. It lives in bogs and floodplains, just as mopane fields and the backwoods of the significant heaps of Africa. This wild ox inclines toward a territory with thick covers, like reeds and bushes, however, can likewise be found in open woodland. They require water day by day, thus they rely upon perpetual wellsprings of water. Like the field zebra, the bison can live on tall, coarse grasses. Crowds of buffalo cut down grasses and clear a path for more particular nibblers. When taken care of, the buffalo utilizes its tongue and wide incisor column to eat grass more rapidly than most other African herbivores. Bison do not remain stomped on or drained territories for long. Other than people, African bison have not many hunters, and are fit for shielding themselves against lions. Lions do execute and eat wild oxen consistently, and in certain districts, the wild oxen are the lion's essential prey. It ordinarily takes many lions to cut down a solitary grown-up bison, and the whole pride normally participates in the chase. Nonetheless, a few episodes have been accounted for in which solitary grown-up male lions have effectively cut down grown-up bison. The cheetah, panther, and spotted hyena are typically a danger just to infants' calves. However, huge families of spotted hyenas have been recorded slaughtering cows and, on uncommon events, totally mature bulls. Diseases. The African wild buffalo is powerless to numerous illnesses, including ox-like tuberculosis, passage sickness, hand, foot, and mouth infection. Similarly, as with numerous illnesses, these issues stay lethargic inside a populace as long as the strength of the creatures is acceptable. These illnesses do, notwithstanding, confine the lawful developments of the creatures, and fencing contaminated zones from unaffected regions are implemented. A few superintendents and game supervisors have figured out how to ensure and raise sickness-free groups which become truly important on the grounds that they can be moved. Most notable are Lindsay Hunt's endeavors to source uninfected creatures from the Kruger National Park in South Africa. Social behavior. Crowd size is an exceptional factor. The center of the crowds is composed of females and their posterity in a practically straight strength progression. The fundamental crowds are encircled by subherds of subordinate males, high-positioning males, and females. The youthful males stay away from the prevailing bull, which is conspicuous by the thickness of his horns. During the dry season, Males split from the crowd and structure unhitched male groups. Two kinds of lone wolf crowds happen: ones made of males, matured for to 7 years, and those of males 12 years or older. During the wet season, the more youthful bulls rejoin a group to mate with the females. They stay with them all through the season to ensure the calves. Some more established bulls stop to rejoin the crowd, as they can at this point don't rival the more youthful, more forceful males. Males have a straight strength order dependent on age and size. Since a bison is more secure, when a crowd is bigger, predominant bulls may depend on subordinate bulls, and in some cases endure their copulation. Grown-up bulls fight in play, predominance corporations, or real battles. A bull approaches another, lowing, with his horns down, and trusts that the other bull will do exactly the same thing. When fighting, the bulls bend their horns from side to side. If the competition is for play, the bull may rub his rival's face and body during the competing meeting. Real battles are vicious yet uncommon and brief. Calves may likewise fight in play, yet grown-up females once in a while fight by any means. African bison are striking for their obvious benevolence. Females seem to display a type of casting a ballot conduct. During resting time, the females stand up, mix around, and sit down once more. They sit toward the path they figure they should move. Following an hour of seriously rearranging, the females travel toward the path they choose. This choice is collective and not founded on a progressive system or dominance. When pursued by hunters, a crowd sticks near one another and makes it difficult for the hunters to take out one part. Calves are assembled in the center. A wild ox crowd reacts to the pain call of a caught part and attempts to save it. A calf's trouble call stands out enough to be noticed by the mother. Wild oxen take part in mobbing conduct when warding off hunters. Vocalizations: African wild oxen make different vocalizations. Numerous calls are lower-pitched variants of those produced by homegrown cows. They discharge low-pitched, 2 to 4 second calls irregularly at 3 to 6 second stretches to flag the group to move. To motion toward the crowd to alter bearing, pioneers discharge dirt, squeaking entryway sounds. While being forceful, they make unstable snorts that may keep going long, or transform into a thundering snarl. Cows produce croaking calls when searching for their calves. Calves settle on a comparative decision of a higher contribution when distress. Predominant people settle on decisions to report their essence and area. An adaptation of a similar call, yet more serious, is transmitted as a notice to an infringing inferior. When touching, they make different sounds, like brief roars, snorts, blares, and croaks. Reproduction: African bison mate and conceive offspring just during the stormy seasons. Birth top happens from the get-go in the season, while mating tops later. A bull intently watches a cow that comes into heat, while keeping different bulls at bay. This is troublesome, as cows are very hesitant and pull in numerous males to the scene. When a cow is in full estrus, just the most predominant bull in the crowded herd is there. Cows initially calve at 5 years old, after a growth time of 11.5 months. Infants' calves stay covered up in vegetation for the initial not many weeks while being breastfed sporadically by the mother prior to joining the fundamental crowd. More established calves are held in the focal point of the group for security. The maternal connection between mother and calf endures longer than in many bovards. That holding closes when another calf is conceived, and the mother at that point keeps her past posterity under control with horn pokes. Assault's one of the huge 5 African games. It is known as the Black Death, or the Widowmaker, and is generally viewed as an extremely risky creature. As indicated by some estimates, it gets and kills more than 200 individuals each year. African bison now murder a larger number of individuals in Africa than some other creature, albeit a similar case is likewise made of hippopotamuses and crocodiles. These numbers might be to some degree overestimated. For instance, in the nation of Mozambique, assaults, particularly deadly ones, were significantly less successive on people than those by hios and, particularly, Nile crocodiles. In Uganda, then again, huge herbivores were found to assault a bigger number of individuals, on normal than lions or panthers, and have a higher pace of dispensing fatalities during assaults than the hunters, yet hios, and even elephants may, in any case, execute a greater number of individuals per annum here than buffalo is. African bison are infamous among major game trackers as exceptionally risky creatures, with injured creatures answered to trap and assault followers.